I'd like to welcome you again in the course and congratulate you on taking a step to learn how to interface your C++ code to QML. Before we do anything, I'd like to talk a little bit about the relationship between QML, C++, and Qt. Qt was originally written in C++, and we have been using the C++ API of Qt for many years. In the last few years, they came up with Qt-Quick, which is a new technology to write user interfaces that really work well on mobile devices. And the Qt company, the company behind Qt today, is pushing for using this technology to write user interfaces. And one of the benefits of writing your user interfaces in Qt-Quick is that they work well on mobile devices. I don't know if you have tried to run a Qt widgets application on a mobile device. It really is painful to look at. So Qt-Quick is the way to go if you are writing user interfaces, and specifically if you are writing your user interfaces for mobile devices. Now, you use Qt-Quick to write your user interfaces. Where does C++ come in? Well, C++ is used to do the heavy stuff. If you are doing some heavy processing in your Qt application, you are most probably going to do that in C++ and then pass the result back to Qt-Quick to be displayed. The C++ API of Qt is very powerful. It contains many things that you can't even dream of in QML. Things like networking, threading, database handling, and many other things you can do in C++, but you cannot do in Qt-Quick, and you're not even meant to do in Qt-Quick, because Qt-Quick responsibility is really to provide a cool user interface for your users to look at. When a user presses a button in Qt-Quick to do some heavy stuff, for example, you are doing some kind of image processing or some other heavy operations, when a user presses the button, you are supposed to call C++, do the heavy operation in C++, and then pass the result back in Qt-Quick. That's the design that the Qt company is pushing for, and that's really the way you should write your Qt applications today. Okay, Qt is the overall technology. It contains a C++ API. It also contains a Qt-Quick API. Qt-Quick itself contains the QML language that you use to write your user interfaces. It also contains a JavaScript engine that lets you write some JavaScript in your QML code to handle some interactivity. When a user presses on a button, you respond to that button click in the JavaScript signal handler in QML. Again, you are supposed to do the heavy stuff in C++ and do the cool looking UIs in Qt-Quick. Now, this course is about interfacing between C++ and QML. What do we really mean by that? To try and explain this, I came up with a few scenarios where you could practically need to communicate between the two sides. Let's say you have a button in QML and you want to respond to that button by calling a C++ method. This is one way you could interface between C++ and QML. You can also do the reverse. When something happens on the C++ side, let's say a timer times out or something, you may need to call a JavaScript function. Although this is not the recommended way to do things, it is possible to do, and I am going to show you how you do that in a few upcoming lectures. You may also need to create your own completely custom C++ types and expose them for use in Qt-Quick. We're going to see how you do that. You may also need to design for some QML-specific features for your own C++ types. Let's say you want to use your type like you use an animation in QML. Let's say number animation on some property. If you want to use that syntax for your own C++ types, you may also need to do that, and it is possible, and we're going to see how you do that in the course. So these are some of the ways you may need to interface between C++ and QML. This is not an exhaustive list. There are certainly other good examples of how you can communicate between C++ and Qt-Quick, but this should be a good start to give you a concrete idea of what this course is all about. Now, I'd like to talk about what you need to know to be able to make the most out of this course. You should have some background with Qt C++. You should also know your way around Qt-Quick and QML. And last but not least, you should have an open mind and be willing to learn the things that we talk about in the course. In terms of Qt C++, you don't really need to be a wizard, but you should know some basics about object-oriented programming. You should know things like classes and objects. You should know about constructors and destructors, signals and slots, and all the things you see here. We are going to be writing classes like this. You see, we have a class defined here, we have a constructor, we have a few fields inside, and we have a bunch of methods that are going to manipulate the fields here. If what you see here is really not foreign to you, you're most probably going to be okay with the course. In terms of QML, you should know about property bindings. You should know how to use the basic items in QML, things like rectangle, images, and text. You should have a basic understanding of Qt Quick controls. You should also know a bit about animations and keys attached property. If you have some doubts about the requirements here, please do check out my previous courses on Qt, C++, and QML. We talk about these things extensively. In terms of the tools, you need to have Qt and Qt Creator installed. You also need to have the latest version of the tools installed. At the time of recording this course, the latest version of Qt is this one here. But you should go to the Qt website and get yourself a fresh new copy of the latest version at the time when you watch this. Okay, here I also have a few tips on how to get the most out of the course. You should really try and follow up what I do in the demos. Everything is explained with concrete examples. This course is very practical. We are going to spend most of our time in the IDE showing you how to set up things and really giving you a feel of how you interface your Qt Quick code to C++. And if you get stuck, try to solve the problem yourself. You may search the error on Google, whatever helps you to get the problem solved. If you still can't solve it, you can ask in the QA section on the course platform, and I am going to do my best to help you out. We also have a Facebook group and a Facebook page for the courses on Qt that we do. So these are the channels that we try to avail to help you out. Do choose what works for you and use it at your own convenience. Okay, this is all for the introduction. In the next lecture, we're going to dive in and show you how you can call a C++ method from Qt Quick. I'll see you in the next lecture.